What is going on, everyone? Let me fix my microphone, my camera here. All right. Maybe that's gonna work. Let's find out. Let me adjust a little bit more. All right, that's gonna have to do for the program. Welcome everybody on a Wednesday night or afternoon, wherever you guys are at. It is Wednesday, March 29th, 2023. And you know what? This is what would help. Let me set my seat up. There we go. I feel a little bit better. And we're going to have to deal with the microphone, well, not the mic, but the camera issue this episode. And that is because I wanted to make sure that I highlighted the background moving forward. You see here on the right side of your screen, got a poster up, got a couple of banners up, and I'm ready to go. And it's kind of a new, it's an exciting time because we are officially less than 24 hours away from the opening day. Pirates, Reds, Hunter Green, two of young pitchers making it through the big leagues. And I'm excited. I don't know how you guys all feel, but wherever you guys are at, if you guys support and you guys watch baseball, then this is that time of year. I had a good opportunity and ended up taking the wife out to her first baseball game of the year. We actually went out last night to Cincinnati and Louisville last night, and it was pretty chilly. It was a kind of a cold night, but it was an exciting time. It was my first time attending a college baseball game. It was her first time going to attending a baseball game in general, and it was kind of a nice atmosphere. Just her and I. We went down to UC baseball stadium. Great parking in the garages. Paid like $7 for what? A little over 2.5 hours, almost 3. And then we got there. We checked on in. Got her a Cincinnati hoodie, which she's excited about. Ended up getting. I think the most we spent was like $30 on the food wise, but I think it was just kind of fun to get out to a baseball game. And for me, regardless of if it's little league, if it's high school, or if it's college or professional, just being able to get out to a ball game, I think is much needed. I don't make an incredible amount of money. Tickets, I got 2 tickets for $4. Spent about, plus parking on I probably spent about $40 altogether between the food and this was our first time going, so food was kind of I got a hot dog, the water. I mean, the only thing I would say that was a bad experience was the bottled water and the Gatorade were $5. And I understand the Gatorade, but the bottle of water was $5. And I'm like, that's more expensive than than the hot dog that was $4. And so I was kind of, I guess, a little bummed out about that. But it was a good all around experience. Now the Bearcats did not go on and win like we wanted them to, but it was also fun just to be able to watch Louisville and the Cardinals just do, the Cardinals take on the Bearcats last night. And so it was kind of cold. We kind of left around. It was a blowout game. I think it was like, we left, it was like 14-2 or something like that, 14-1. And it was just the Cardinals were just hitting home bombs left and right. So if it's not raining on a Friday, I'm gonna try to head it back out there again. They face Wichita State in a 3-game series. So hey, it's baseball season, you guys, and I can't if you're looking to head down to a ball game, check out high school games. I know they're fascinating to watch. College, depending where you're at, depends how expensive they are. And it wasn't a big stadium, but then you kind of got to see, how everything else is configured for for UC. So got the poster that has their schedule up. That's what we're gonna keep up for the remainder of right now baseball year. If you guys got interesting sports posters, send them my way. Right now, I mean, I just took down the t-shirt. I may find something else for that later on, but took that down. It is baseball season. You see the Reds, you see the Padres, you see the Angels up. Um, you know, and I'm just excited. I'm happy for what we have to offer this baseball season. And like I said, we're less than 24 hours away from talking Cincinnati Reds and St. Louis Pittsburgh Pirates. So here's my understanding. I wanted to get, and I completely forgot this. One thing that I was a little bummed about a couple weeks ago was that this whole new package plan to watch Major League Baseball games. Now I get Hulu, okay, and I have Hulu TV, and it's a good app. And if I a couple years ago I had Sling TV, and Sling didn't provide any local channels, so I couldn't watch couldn't watch football. And so what I did is I moved a couple years ago. I changed to about 2 years ago. I changed to Hulu TV. Hulu TV gives me the ability to check out the local, Fox News, WLW, channel. And what I noticed that and so other than the games that are played on ESPN or FS1 or Fox, I don't get baseball. I refer to the MLB TV. And because I'm subscribed with T-Mobile, next Tuesday, every year you get the basic, hey, here's your out of market games. If it's in the market, you can't watch it. You can watch it in the archives, but you can't watch it live then and there. And then you also get the audio games. So if if I'm driving in the car, or if I could listen to the Reds on audio. I can't watch them, but I can listen to them. And MLB has a package where if you even want to get your market games, there's going to be like $150 the entire year. I don't think that's a bad price. I like the price. I just don't have $150 to drop. And not really knowing the schedule that I have, I think it's kind of a bit much to commit to. So I'm not really committed all the way to the highest package. So, but my brother called me up today, and getting ready for the show, I was making lunch, and he shoot me up. He was like, "Are you getting the MLB TV?" I no longer had T-Mobile, and I'm like, "Oh man, I forgot about that." So I checked that today, and yes, T-Mobile is once again relaunching MLB TV, a free. You get free games, whatever that package plan includes. You'll find out April 4th, next Tuesday, and it launches at 6 a.m. So if you are so you just have to endure 5 days of watching, trying to only watch sports that's on TV if you guys are baseball fans. And it's going to be a busy week. And that's fine. I think that's fine for me because I don't want to be distracted by baseball over the weekend, although I will be paying attention to it. But I want to be invested into WrestleMania. And we'll talk about that here in a moment. But so I was scrolling through my channel. I was trying, a couple of days ago, I was trying to figure out any games that were going to be on TV. Now I do see a couple of games, but my immediate reaction went through the roof when I saw the Cincinnati Reds and the Pittsburgh Pirates opening day being held on WLW. And I'm like, oh, wow. For probably the only game, unless it's on primetime TV, such as ESPN or Fox or, FS1, I'm going to sit down and watch it. And, last year, if you guys are new to listening to the program, I would call baseball games um, to give you, some people will give, will listen to them, and so I'm looking towards kicking my broadcast, my version of the baseball games, I guess, tomorrow. Now, the only thing that I think gets me worried is if it becomes a blackout, for whatever reason, but I guess WLW, the local news stations are to have the the parade, and then also followed by the game, and I'm excited for it. So if everything goes well, tomorrow I will be beginning my season off on broadcasting between the Cincinnati Reds and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Okay. Now you're not gonna go see any, I may throw the game tracker up this year so that you guys can see what's given and whatnot. And our time slot may be exactly at 4 p.m. because I don't want to go do a pregame show and then come to find out that Hulu doesn't support it. So, there's some things that some channels and some programs, like throughout the winter, there's programs on the local channel. So right now, I don't quote me. I'm looking forward to it. I want to call it. If not, there is an additional, I believe it's the Braves game, and I'll have to confirm that throughout the program. But there's a game tomorrow night that I will end up calling instead of the Reds and the Pirates. But I'm hoping for the Reds and the Pirates. All right, so we are halfway through the week. In about 2 hours, AEW Dynamite is on the, will begin. Okay. We got college baseball on in the background. I don't know what teams are playing. Lost track. Who's playing? Yeah, not even gonna try to butcher that. Anyways, so got baseball on. I'm kind of sit down. I got my dinner. We're doing a show in the afternoon because I've been waiting around for the maintenance man to come up and take a look at our dishwasher. If you guys were tuned into yesterday, you guys found out that I took like a 20-minute break with a commercial break looping because we thought that the maintenance man was here. There was a maintenance vehicle downstairs, and we thought, all right, they're going to come up and look at it. And so I was gonna step away until they took a look. And so I don't want, I'm doing this broadcast, I'm doing this show from the luxury space of the living room. I'm in a corner of a living room. I got the TV here, the couch is over there, the sliding door and the windows are back over here. So, I mean, I don't want the maintenance man to come while I'm doing a live program. I don't think that is proper etiquette. And yesterday I tried putting a note on the door saying, hey, please come back afterwards. I don't know if that, they read it. If not, I don't have no idea. But so I was lingering around today, took the wife to work and, got what I needed to get done. And so this is why we're doing an afternoon program. So pretty impactful 2 hours. Got a lot to talk about. Hopefully tomorrow we'll do a morning program. Give me the time to rest. Give me the time to prepare for the Reds and the Pirates tomorrow afternoon, if not the alternative game. And I'll keep you guys posted of what we're planning on doing. But we got some baseball to talk about. Now, we sat there and we talked plenty about the rest of the division, the rest of the National League Central. Talked about the Pirates, the Cubs, the Brewers, and the Cardinals. And boy, I'll tell you, as we advance each day and we talked about them in that order, I was getting like, oh no. Okay. Comparing the Cardinals roster and like their rotation against the guys that we have kind of was like it popped out my eyes. I was like, oh no. So I want to talk about, I think it's time to talk about the Reds, time to talk about where the Reds at the month of April, how we expect them to play, the series, and how we expect them to win the series. So the first segment of today's program, coming back from break, we're going to be talking strictly about the Cincinnati Reds. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we will give you, Nick Krall had a couple of Q&A segments that we will share with you. So we'll talk about that. We'll visit some NFL rule changes for 2023 that was got approved. I'm not going to go over the entire list. I'll go over just a small amount of them to get us through the segment at the top of hour number 2. Yesterday we took a look at 10 wrestlers who could be called up from the NXT roster to the main roster post WrestleMania. Today we will look at the top 10 superstars who could debut or return after WrestleMania. So a more broader standpoint, we'll also talk some WrestleMania matches. We got 4 more matches that we're going to talk about tonight, and all that good stuff. So we have ourselves a packed, planned event for you this evening. So sit tight, grab your popcorn. I'm excited to bring 2 hours of the program with you and continue baseball, sports conversations here in Cincinnati. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, want to give you guys a big shout out. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Be sure to have those notifications on. Don't miss a single episode of the throw-in each and every day during the week. If you guys are over on Facebook and or Twitter, be sure to hit that like button, share it with a friend, get on over into the comment sections on the YouTube channel, and be a part of the chat. Love to hear you guys. Also, if you guys are listening to us on any audio streaming platforms, we thank you. We welcome you. None of this is possible without everyone and their support. So we thank everyone and all the valid listeners, and we're ready to have a great program. So I'm going to step aside, take a timeout for the first time out of the program. Come on back, talk about those Cincinnati Reds. You guys are listening to The Throw-In right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
Inside your bedroom, we stopped counting the days, lost in the rhythm. Physical silence, no need to speak a word, laying here beside me. Don't wanna move too fast.
.22 here on on a Wednesday afternoon. You guys are listening to the Throw-In here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Want to give a big shout out to StreamYard Studios, the proud home of the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Create your podcasts, videos, host virtual business meetings, and even conduct interviews at StreamYard.com. All videos, all interviews, all game time play are streamed here, right here on StreamYard.com. That's how we're able to go live on all audio platforms. I got my windows open. It's a little breezy out there, but it's really nice. And unfortunately, what you're seeing is a big glare because the sun kind of comes down where my patio is. The sun kind of comes in, and I'm getting a lot of that sun already. Good thing it's not in my face. That's what I'm happy about. But, yeah, I think I needed to go to a ball game yesterday because if it wasn't for the ball game, the Bearcats and the Cardinals yesterday, I think it just helped me get into the season mode, to be honest. And in all honesty, it got me into the season mode, and I'm ready for baseball now. 162 days, games over 7 months. And don't forget the postseason. And it's going to, if you're tired now, just wait. There's a lot more still to come. And you don't want to miss. I was complexing about doing a program this afternoon. And I was telling myself, you don't want to miss any of these conversations. This is a huge week. This is what we build up for. If you wanted to miss, you would have missed last week. You could miss sometime next week. And, I know I have a doctor's appointment next Tuesday. There's a good possibility that I may be missing Tuesday's episode, depending on how I feel waking up in the morning, to be honest. And I got to drive. It's not a far drive. Say about a 25, maybe 30 minutes to get to the doctor's appointment. And that's to talk about the upcoming surgery. I'm kind of nervous about that, to be honest. Got a lot of great stuff going on next week. But the Cincinnati Reds and the Pittsburgh Pirates, we're less than 24 hours away from this game to begin. And, there's jitterbugs, and my stomach is twisting and turning, nodding up left and right. And I'm just a fan. And we got a lot to look into and a lot to catch up on. So let's take, throughout the week. Last week, we also looked at the rest of the NL Central and how they looked at. I think it's time to take a look at our Cincinnati Reds. And here's that here's that page. And I think it's a fun page. All right. All right, where do I begin? We're going to give you a lot more information about the starting pitchers tomorrow and about the moves and left and right. But let's begin talking about the Cincinnati Reds as they get ready to play the Pittsburgh Pirates in less than 24 hours. And I think the first thing we need to go do is jump over to the schedule. And share with you what we have on the screen. Okay. So let's get to so first of all, Reds home opener. If you are in attendance, and unfortunately I'm not going to be, you'll get the 2023 magnet schedule and car magnet to fans in attendance. Now, if you guys have any extra, please send them my way. I will love to monitor that. They'll be off Friday, and they'll have a game against the Pirates on Saturday, game 2. There we go. Kids opening day Be there to celebrate a special kid opening day featuring a pregame red carpet parade with Reds players and mascots. All right. Pretty nice. And then they had their Sunday promotion. It's a Reds calendar on Sunday against the Pirates at 1:40. Celebrate the 20th anniversary of Great American Ballpark by honoring many of ballpark's biggest moments to fans in attendance. And then after the 3-game series, they'll go on and host the Chicago Cubs for 3 games before jumping on the road and giving the Phillies their first home opener of 2023, or their only home opener of 2023 in that sense. They'll take on the Phillies in 3 games, then head on over to Atlanta before coming back home to Philadelphia and taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. They'll be on the road to Pittsburgh and then back home to Texas, followed by 3 games in Oakland. So there's a lot of traveling. And I think the first half of the month of April, you're going to, or pretty much, let me put it this way, this month stays on the East Coast. Now, I do know that the travel from Philadelphia to Atlanta is a little bit more pricey, a little longer, but then you get to come back home, face Philadelphia. And so I think here's the rule of thumb, right? It's about winning the simple ball games that you need to win to help your season progress. And what I mean by that is, okay, is that we need to sit here and have the Reds, I guess, what would you call it? They need to take on the Pittsburgh Pirates and take care of business against the Pirates. I think it's going to be a fun, rich history game. I agree. But getting off to a hot start in the first 6 games of the season, I think, especially against your own division, is necessary. And I don't want to find the Reds this year the same position that they were in last year, where they had a battle to avoid last place. Now, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I predicted earlier this week that they could win 75 plus ball games. And I sure hope that the Reds could win 75 games. But optimistically, you got to win more than, I think, 70 or more, to be honest. And we have the team and we have the talent down there in the minor leagues that potentially are to be coming up at some point this year to do it. And I talk about Ellie Dela Cruz and Christian Encarnacion Strand, Mac McLean. You know, there are talent down there in the minors that are just waiting, you know, to fine tune them down in the minors, just waiting on their opportunity to come up to the big leagues. And, you know, there's talk about, oh, are we steering away from the new look? No. But these are steps, I think, that are being taken during the course of the season over the next year or two, because, you know, if we win with this ball club, great. If we lose, we're still on track for what we're trying to do in the process that the Reds are trying to plan, right? So, I mean, anything positive this year is just a bonus. We're talking about the next 3 years down the road. If the Reds don't hold up their water once they get rid of, or once they move on from, you know, Joey Votto, and once they move on from Will Myers, once they bring up guys like Christian Encarnacion and Ellie Dela Cruz, and they're still not winning, or they're not on the direction of winning, then that's when we can look back at the Reds and say, all right, you guys utterly failed. And there's something that within the system, whether it's David Bell, whether it's Nick Krall, or even, I'm sorry to say this, but even if it's, you know, the ownership, the Castellinis, I think in 3 years time frame, we could start looking at that option. As far as this season goes for the Redlegs, I honestly want to see them take 2 out of 3 against Pittsburgh. And yeah, maybe this is going to be a bold prediction. You got Hunter Green, kicking things off tomorrow afternoon. On Saturday, you get Nick Lodolo and Graham Ashcraft, with, by the way, congratulations to them. They're both going to be a part of the red carpet parade that takes place down there in Cincinnati, that I'm going to avoid going down because I don't want to get stuck down there with traffic and whatnot. And no, I'm just not doing it. To say, I'd rather stay home and get ready to call the game and whatnot. But they should come into next Monday, against the Chicago Cubs and be 3-0, honestly. And if not, at best 2-1, but 3-0. I'm going to put the standard 3-0 against the Pirates, kicking the things off strong. And you know what? You're going to carry that 3-0 start over into Chicago, where you can at least take 2 of 3 against the Cubbies, right? Before you head on the road, you want to at least be 5-1, if not 4-2, kind of giving yourself some pretty good feel heading into Philadelphia and to Atlanta, where where the East looks a little bit differently than what we're used to. And you're going to have to not only deal with them on the road in 6 games, come back home and face the Phillies. So you kind of get them out of the way a little bit, and that's exciting, right? And then we got to take on Tampa Bay. I don't know. I think a good here's the thing. You should always have your home games. You should always be above 500. And I think that's the goal that I think the Reds need to focus on and accomplish. And then you get Philadelphia, come back, on the road, and then take on Atlanta, play about 500 baseball. And you want to take advantage of every series that you head into, because Philadelphia, Atlanta, not no easy team to walk by. Heading back home to take on Philadelphia in a 4-game series, as there is on April 15th, which is probably the first game that I would like to attend to of the season, where they given away a Great American Ballpark replica celebrating its 20th anniversary. I'm kind of excited to go back to that game if I can. First pitch is at 4:10. And then you're home to Tampa Bay for a 3-game series. And then you're back on the road with Pittsburgh. And if you're not drained by Pittsburgh, because trust me, you'll be drained, you should hopefully take 3 of 4 in Pittsburgh, if not at least split the series. So I think it's important in the month of April to get things right. One, you got to finish month of April at least 500 or better. And that's going to be my goal already, kicking to the month of April here. All right, let's hop on over to the depth chart. Look at what the Reds are going to provide, because there are going to be some injuries already given up here. And we're going to look at Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, Graham Ashcraft as our 3 core guys. With Luke Weaver going to begin the season kind of on the IL, you'll get Luis Cessa and Connor Overton in that deal in the 4th and 5 spot. I think it's important to have Luis Cessa and Luke Weaver get a lot of action. So hopefully Luke Weaver can come on back and have as soon as possible, because that back end of the rotation, I think, is going to hurt us the most. Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, and Graham Ashcraft are going to be the 3 key guys. We've been talking about it since the end of last season, that these are young group of guys. They're probably they're only like 23, 24 years old. They're all ready for the big leagues. And this is the first year where they don't really have any restrictions out of them, nor they don't have any like injuries lurking that we at least are aware of. And they don't have anyone holding them back from, for example, no disrespect to, absolutely no disrespect to Luis Castillo, but we don't have to worry about anybody getting in the way. And these 3 guys are going to, feed off each other and hopefully strive to be the better pitcher out there this season. So these are the 3 key guys that I'm sticking with. And for the first time heading into the season, because I know last year I didn't feel the same way. These three guys, I feel comfortable sending out there every 5 days and saying, all right, we have a chance at winning the ball game, right? I mean, don't you feel maybe the same way, in my opinion? So I'm thinking, all right, these three guys, let's go. Luis Cessa, it's unfortunate because of the injury of Luke Weaver, but I kind of wish that Luis Cessa gets some more time in the bullpen because I still feel like he fits that longevity spot. Connor Overton is going to get just the opportunity to get out there in the bullpen with Luke Weaver being gone. And you know what? I think he's given that extra life because once Luke Weaver is ready, the most likely Connor Overton is going to, head on down to the minor leagues. Now, if Connor Overton could have 2 or 3 really good outings in the month of April, then you could very well see them stick with Connor Overton. And I think the Reds would much rather stick with him the best as possible. Over there in the bullpen, Alexis Diaz is your everyday closer. What I like about this is that, he's a young guy. We still don't know what he's capable of. He has vast of potential in the bullpen. He just needs the time out there. And I think the Reds need to give him that opportunity to go out there and close games, scenario games. But here's another good problem to have if you're the, Reds. Alexa Diaz does not have to save each and every game that's presented itself. So, there's a lot more that Diaz has to offer. He could go in there in the 6th, go there in the 7th, and even the 8th inning as scenario pitching. And then you could allow Lucas Sim or, Buck Farmer or even, Fernando Cruz kind of come in there and do some of the closing. So I really, really do like this year's bullpen. And I think the key issue is there's 2 parts to the success to the Reds bullpen this year. One's going to be staying healthy, right? That's one thing that we last year just kept on experiencing was the healthiness for the Reds. And every time you see, you got someone back, someone went down. And second of all is to rely on these starting pitchers to go and give you 2, 6, 7 innings every night. So the workload of these the bullpen guys are not as excessive, especially, and I'll leave it off as this, especially since you don't have a guy like, a longevity pitcher back there in the bullpen that you can rely on to come in either every 6 days or come in, in the, 4th or 5th inning when you need him to eat up some innings for you. So just on this pitching alone, there's a lot of options, a lot of excitement. Gonna cut to a break, and when we come on back, I want to finish the roster that the Reds have. Talk about some of the options and what we have to look at on the field and offensively. So don't go nowhere. Stick around. The throw-in continues here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Director role, you're playing multiple hats. Can you just quickly elaborate maybe a quick summary of what this play is about? Love's not enough.
So as we know, the title speaks for itself. Love is not enough. It takes more than saying I love you in order for any relationship to thrive and survive. So this is actually a revamp from the production that we did back in 2019, which was a phenomenal group of talents. However, this story did not change what it did. So there are some similarities to 2019 version. However, it's totally different from 2019, if that makes sense. I expanded on a lot of the stories, gave a lot of backstory on different characters, and, all in all, just to show that, again, it takes more to a relationship than just saying, hey, I love you. It's actually a word that requires action. So, yeah.
what made you want to revamp this? You know, this was it was an original back in 2019, and
Well, actually, so what made me want to revamp this was, so we got a lot of feedback from the audience. I love one thing about me as a writer and director. I love constructive feedback. Anything to help me better myself, anything to help me expand or help me to stretch, my craft and my skills in the world of writing and directing. So a lot of their feedback after the show in 2019, which I say no, there was no bad feedback at all. I'd say all feedback is something that I can learn from. So that's basically where I got it from. And then studying the show from 2019 and just looking at things like hey, I can do this better. And, I want to change this or I want to add this. So,
Alrighty, 6:44, bottom of the hour here on the throw-in. Take you guys up until 8 o'clock before AEW Dynamite, which is going to be tonight. And like I said, we're talking about the Cincinnati Reds, and they are less than 24 hours away from opening day. And you got to feel the excitement in the room. That's the only way this is all going to work. Alrighty. So before the break, we talked about the pitchers. We talked about the bullpen and that starting rotation. Now we got to move to the catchers and what the catchers are going to bring to the table. As there's a strong belief, and I strongly believe this, that you have to have a good relationship between your catchers and your pitchers. No doubt about it. If you don't have that relationship, that strong relationship, doing the catching behind the plate, then you're just out of sync. And I think it's difficult to pitch in games. And this year we're going to see Tyler Stevenson, Kurt Casale, and Luke Molly join the catching position. Now, Tyler Stevenson is maintaining his role is to kind of transition this year into a first baseman, as we will see Joey Votto begin his season on the IL. And so let me talk about that for a second, because he's made it clear. We read the article. He's like, listen, if I'm not going to rush back. I know my time's limited, and if I can't perform at the pace that you guys want me to perform at, if I can't hit my weight and produce the way that you need me to produce for this team, then it's time to call it quits. And I would like to see Joey Votto at least finish off this year strong. But by the way he's doing it, I will be honest with you, he's doing it the right way. And I really applaud him for it. He's not rushing to get back. He got to a very late start in spring training. He's going to begin the season on rehab down there in the minor leagues. And I think this is appropriate, because while he's gone, we're going to go ahead and see guys like Will Myers step in and Tyler Stevenson fill in. And I'm sure when Votto is back and he says that he's ready to go, we will see him in a bounce back year. At least that's what I would like to see out of Joey Votto, a longtime Reds, first baseman. Hopefully he retires as a Red. And, you know, I'm gonna go out there on a limb and say, okay, I would like him to retire at the end of this year, especially if this year is not batting 400. And I think that's excessive, but he had one of the worst offensive years last year, especially since his shoulder injury. So I would like to see, so we're going to see a lot more from Tyler Stevenson. We already know, and the reason why the Reds are carrying 3 catchers is because you're going to see Kurt Casale and Luke Molly do more of the catching roles, while Tyler Stevenson, he's going to be transitioned as a designated hitter as well as a first baseman. Utilize going back and forth between him and Will Myers, and I think the key element of Tyler Stevenson is to get him as many games on the field offensively as possible. If that means you got to have him as a designated hitter 5 days a week, if that means he has to be at first base, catching, it puts a lot of toll and really strains the body. When you're out there each and every night squatting in that position, having to jump up. And I'm not saying that Tyler Stevenson can't, fill in that role, but he scared a lot of Reds fans last year when he got hurt. And I think that, one of the goals this year, already heard by Nick Krall and David Bell, is keeping Tyler Stevenson healthy. We're going to move around the rest of the infield because we got Jonathan India firmly at second base, followed by Spencer Steer at third base and Jose Barrero at shortstop. 2 guys that I really locked in and see, Jonathan India and Spencer Steer. When it comes down to India, he's taken that. He understands his role a lot better this year than he did last year, taking that leadoff spot, trying to kind of almost, I would say, build a team around Jonathan India, and then you build your, the rest of the team around the 3 starting pitchers we have. Spencer Steer is going to get his fair chance. This is it, right? You're up at the big leagues. Let's see what you're capable of doing. And a lot of people are going out there saying that Spencer Steer is going to have a phenomenal year and probably lead with home runs and hits out of the Reds. And I would love to see that from Spencer Steer, because right now we really don't have anyone at third base that's ready to be brought up. I mean, you have Jason Volser, of course. You got Matt Reynolds down there in the minor leagues, I believe, which are great. But I mean, you don't really have much more help because that shortstop position right now, Kevin Newman, and Kevin Newman is just that backup to Jose Barrero. Jose is going to get a little bit of time, and I want him to get comfortable at shortstop. Maybe take him about 2 to 3 weeks to get comfortable there at shortstop. But the reason you're going to give him a little bit more time because you have Ellie De La Cruz injured, you got Christian Encarnacion injured, Mac McLean is going to start off in the minors. But if we don't see Jose Barrero pick up and find his role by June or July, I wouldn't be surprised to see the position change to Kevin Newman until we could bring up one of these younger guys. Kevin Newman, one thing I would point out with Kevin Newman, I will love to see Kevin Newman at some point this weekend going up against the Pittsburgh Pirates, especially in a game time situation. See how that trade worked out. All right, out there in the outfield, we got Jake Fraley out there in left field with injuries behind him. He's looking to have probably a monstrous year. TJ Friedel, Will Benson's excited. I think the Reds are excited to have Will Benson, as most likely he'll start off the season out there in center field because of Nick Senzel slowly coming back. Will Myers out there at right field, but it's going to be interesting to see how the Reds shape the outfield right now, because Will Myers is going to have to come down and play a lot of first base early on in the season. Although we have Tyler Stevenson that looks fine and dandy, Will Myers is more prepped for first base than Tyler Stevenson. So you may see Tyler Stevenson 2-3 days maybe during the week. The rest of the time, Will Myers. And then you'll see Tyler Stevenson hit to the DH, maybe do a catching in the middle of all that So Jake Fraley, TJ Friedel, and Will Benson right now is going to be a strong suit. Now, well, I know when Nick Senzel, he's going to come back and he's going to fight to come back harder and stronger. And when he comes back, there's unlimited options that the Reds could throw out there in the outfield. But right now, I wouldn't be surprised when we look at that lineup tomorrow. Jake Fraley, TJ Friedel, and Will Benson are all playing the outfield right now in those position spots. Overall, there's some promising aspects. Will Myers is hoping to revive his droughtful career in San Diego. Nick Senzel, once he gets healthy, you're looking promising, as well as Jake Fraley, looking to bounce back from an injury out there in Seattle. Will Benson's looking to make a name for himself. Then there's really not a whole lot of outfielders down there in the minors. You got Nick Solak and Stuart Fairchild, but I think the outfield's pretty solid. I would like Jose Barrero to find his feet. If not, Kevin Newman will be also in that first change. I know it's only not even opening day yet, and that's tomorrow, but guys that we are maybe looking to also be willing to put up on the trade market at the beginning of the year, Nick Senzel, Will Myers is obviously it for me is one of them. Will Benson, if he has a good first half of the season. Kevin Newman, same thing. Maybe tossing him on that trade market, see what you could get for him. They got rid of Asa Roman. I don't think they're going to do anything with the catching, neither with the pitching, to be honest. So really just position wise. But man, I'm excited for the Cincinnati Reds season. Tomorrow, it's all about the Reds. Honestly, there's really not much more to talk about when it comes down. We got to get ready for opening day, right? Tomorrow is all about Cincinnati. We'll make it Friday about the recap of opening day as well as WrestleMania season, because that's our number 2. Nick Krall had a couple of Q&As. I'm actually going to push that back to tomorrow. And that's the first thing we're going to talk about is the Q&As that he had. Coming up next, top of the hour, the NFL has approved of some new rule changes. I want to start talking a little bit about that. And then in hour number 2, we're going to talk about 10 wrestlers who could debut or return after WrestleMania. And I think on top of that, let's talk about some 4 matches. And here are the 4 matches that I'm intrigued in talking about, to be honest. All right. The 4 matches, yesterday we did a lot of non-title matches, and I think today it's going to be a little bit different because I want to talk about some title matches. So the matches that I have that we're going to be talking about this evening is the United States title, Austin Theory taking on John Cena. The Intercontinental title, Gunther versus Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre. The Raw Women's title, Bianca Belair taking on Asuka. And then the SmackDown Women's Championship, Rhea Ripley taking on Charlotte Flair, the 2003 Royal Rumble winner. And so I have my few takes on that, but we got to step aside. Hour number 1 is complete in the books. Hour number 2 is coming up, and we got a lot more to talk about. Thank you guys for tuning into the Throw-In here on the TNC YouTube channel.
About to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be. Life with no distractions. We'll get away. This is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Let's go, let's be free with me. Now looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run. This is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free. It goes her own way, like he don't give a damn, girl. And my God, she owns it. So many heartbreaks, goes back to 2014, and I think that she knows it. And if you've seen her, I know that you would believe it, 'cause I know that you'd want her to. Yeah, I do. Everyone's taking their shot, but missing out on the cut. I think she knows that. She drives them crazy when she's looking like that. The way she's moving makes them want it so bad. It's the attention.
Alrighty, Wednesday afternoon. Got some college baseball on in the back. Let's get our heads right here and finish off the program in the last hour. Hey, listen, when we get caught up in conversations and when we get caught up in some of the things that we want to talk about, and sometimes these segments could get away, but I think it's important to keep these segments going and not really spend, 20, 30, 40 minutes, because I have the tendency of just going on and saying the same thing in 20 different ways. So, yeah, best not to be honest. But talk to Cincinnati Reds tomorrow. Want to give you a opinion about predictions, where we think every team places. We'll talk about the starting pitching for each and every game. And I'm excited. I'm thrilled. We're going to get to it. And hopefully, if I could get the Reds on TV, because they're supposed to be on the local WLW tomorrow afternoon following the parade that's going to be televised. that I'm actually going to tune in and actually watch or try to watch at least. I mean, I'm excited. I have to go grab some monsters and grab some energy drinks. It's going to be a long day for me. Trust me. But it's still on the back burner because we aren't officially aware of it or confirmed if the game is going to be on TV. Like I said, sometimes blackouts happen because even though we get the local channels, it's only shown actual locally. And Hulu doesn't provide that. For example, during the wintertime, they have like the Frosty the Snowman and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and How the Grinch Stole Christmas type stuff. Those are given to those are blacked out. So I mean I tried recording them on WLW or the Fox 19, and then they're blacked out because Hulu does not provide that. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. A couple of other things that we do want to talk about before getting into this segment here has to be Love's Not Enough. Now, we talked a lot about Love's Not Enough, and to be honest, I'm excited. I'm thrilled. From what Love's Not Enough has been able to provide. So Love's Not Enough is a theater play presented by Enlightened Studios, written and directed by Terry Chappell II, originated back in 2019, revamped earlier this year. A display went on back in the end of January, and we got the chance to interview a handful of guests. Now, between that time, Terry came back to me and said, hey, listen, it was such a success that we're going to do it again April 7th at 7 p.m. and April 8th at 3 p.m. next weekend at the Community Arts Center in Fairfield, Ohio. Yes, it's Easter weekend. So if you guys got any plans, you guys are in town and you want to go see a theater play, I know me and the wife is headed out there next weekend because we were invited to go do a live program from the Community Arts Center just within the 2 hours before it starts. So next Friday, April 7th, we will be there from 5 to 7. We'll also get a chance to watch the play. Thank you to Terry and Enlightened Studios for providing us tickets. But then we're also going to be able to do kind of like an after show where we come back on after the play and get the reaction from the audience. So I'm actually very excited. I want to say thank you to Terry and the entire cast and team of Enlightened Studios. They've been a wonderful guest on our show. Open arms, welcoming, and I know interviews haven't really turned out the way that we really wanted it to be, but we're gonna get a lot of guests coming on our program next Friday afternoon. So if you have nothing to do, come on by, check us out, say hi to us, and all that fun stuff, because it's a blast to go out there. So Love's Not Enough, presented by Enlightened Studios next weekend. Big event after heading it out there to Community Arts Center. Tickets are still available, by the way. All right. So, another announcement I've been, I guess, procrastinating talking about on the program. And I was waiting around to talk about this because, one, for respect of the wife, wanted her to feel comfortable and ready to post this and talk about this and all that fun stuff. But we are expecting a child. Yeah. So me and the wife's been together for about a year, coming up in April. And, I could sit here and talk blue to my face about our relationship. It's definitely, there's been ups and downs, and I think definitely struggles that in comparisons, a lot of other relationships haven't endured, or they would have endured over the next over like a time frame. And we've done it in a year. I got 2 kids already. And they're ones, and they're the life of the party. And we are expecting another, at least I'm expecting another. This will be her first, and things have been, all over the place. The wife's been a very big supporter of what I do and this show and this program. She's encouraged me, stand by me, although, and you know what? Sometimes this program takes a little bit more of a priority than spending time with her and spending time in a relationship and build a relationship. So, in all honesty, and she's tolerated it. I'm very, fightful when it comes down to, hey, I got to get this stuff done for this program. You know what I'm saying? Like I wake up early every morning, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, the latest, saying, all right, I gotta put 2, 3, 4 hours of work into the program in the morning, just to do what I want to do. And then it's afterwards, as soon as this hits, I'm right back at it, trying to get ready for the next day, try to get ready for the next week, what we want to talk about. And sometimes it drives me late at night. She go, and so she's a huge supporter, and I can't thank her enough for the support and the assistance that she provides me. Even though she doesn't provide anything physically for the program, there's a lot of mental stuff that she helps provide me with. She tells me to stick with it on the days that I don't really quite feel the need or energy to do. And I think it's important that I stick with it, do it on a daily basis like I want to, because then we don't miss any news. We don't miss any coverage. We get to do things like have guests on our show and whatnot. So, and all I can say is that the first month, you hear the worst, that the first month is the worst when it comes down to pregnancy. First month, first trimester is just terrible. You got the case of the morning sickness, you got the cramps, you got the potential percentage of miscarrying, and God forbid that does not, please do not allow that to happen this time. And we really do our best to do what we need to do. And we take care of ourselves. She takes care of herself, which is important. So, thought just to share it. She shared it on social media the other day, and thought just to share it out with you guys on the program as well. And so, hey, expect it at some point, if and when I have my back surgery, I'm gonna obviously have time off, and when she's giving birth, I'm gonna take time off from the program. So I just hope it's not during anything anything crucial. I do know it's going to be during the playoffs, because she's expected midway through October. So I guess we'll see where that comes. So that's the second big announcement. But all right, let's get down into some of the conversations that we need to have. NFL is having some new rule changes. There is quite a handful of them, but these ones are primarily on the on-field changes that the NFL is going to have this year. So, coming up first here is amended to rule number 5, section 1. I'm not going to get into it. This was proposed by the Philadelphia Eagles. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know the exact rule, but this is what this changes to apply. Players can use the jersey number 0 now. Kickers and punters can use any jersey numbers between 0 and 49 and 90 to 99. Not really a big news, but it's a change nonetheless. All right, coming in here for the proposed by the Los Angeles Chargers, referees will adjust play clock following any instant replay reversal in the same way they do the following other stoppages. Before, players would have to signal back to the officials to request more time on the play clock in such situations. And you know why? I think in a instant replay reversal, yeah, I do, because the thing is that clock should stop. And I don't know, maybe it should be reduced, other than maybe down to 20 seconds. I don't, because you're giving the offense time to rethink their play, and it's almost like an uncharged timeout if you think about it. So, but I do like this new rule change, and hopefully, I mean, these are probably minor changes that you're not necessarily going to see on the field directly, other than maybe the overall aspect of the game. Proposed by the Houston Texans, the replay official can automatically review a close play on a failed fourth down attempt. This will save teams challenges if it's close call on fourth down. The rule change may speed up the game since the replay official can review the play immediately. Yeah, so normally, the team is one who would have to issue the challenge. Will they get a chance to save the challenge? And it's only on failed fourth downs. And I think it's under the discretion of the replay official. And I'm sure between plays, between turnovers, they're going to get a chance to take a look at this more closely. All right, another rule change given to you thanks to the proposed by the competition committee. A launch, which is a personal foul and 15-yard penalty, is now if a player leaves one or both feet to make a tackle. So if someone is lunging themselves or trying to dive to make a tackle and they leave 1 foot off the ground or they leap both feet off the ground, that is now also a personal foul, which is penalized by 15 yards. It's going to, I'm okay with that play, with that rule change. Another competition committee rule change: if a player is called for tripping, the penalty results in a 15-yard and an automatic first down. Not really too much into that one, but that's part of the rule change on the field. This will penalize teams handling off. Okay, so the rule change for this one is penalizing teams handling off the football forward on a read option, for example, or any other running plays. Play a penalty. Hands off will have to be made next to or behind the quarterback, not in front. So what we're talking about here is read option plays. Sometimes the quarterback waits until the very last second to hand it off or to make the pass. And sometimes this leads into the first or, the runner being in front. Well, in this case, he's going to have to stay backwards, on next to him. It's going to also, I think, be interesting if, depending how the officials, officiate, are they going to be lenient on these plays, or are they going to be really strict on these plays? This one here is proposed by the competition committee. This makes those act counts for a loss of downs at the spot of the foul, just like an illegal forward pass. All right, so related back to this one, handing the football forward is both the same thing. I just had 2 PowerPoints. This would also result in a penalty, and it would be just treated like a illegal forward pass, and it's going to be loss of a down. There you go. All right. To make a penalty for illegal punts, drop kicks, or place kicks the same as illegal forward pass. This is also going to be treated the same. Removes of the words the butt, ram, and spear from Article 8 and adds those actions into a penalty for impermissible use of a helmet as well. Alrighty, to prevent the offense from benefiting with an extra play at the end of a half because of the offensive penalty proposed by the competition committee. An example was given: if the offense commits a holding penalty at the end of the half to end the half, they will no longer lead to an untimed additional down. So And I think this one hasn't really changed too much. Um, I guess this is okay. So the end of the half. I thought this rule was already in place, because the only way you could get an extra down on a penalty at the end of a half or the end of a game is if the defense made it. Alrighty. To clearly use of a helmet against an opponent proposed by the competition committee. See, this is where, all right. That's the one going back here, right? The act removes the Article 8 adds on the additional into the penalty of impermissible use of helmet. I got these two mixed up, but I apologize. So yeah, to clarify the use, they wanted to clarify the use of a helmet against an opponent. So if you're going for a spear, you're going for a headbutting. If you're going for a ram, it's considered impermissible use of a helmet, which then therefore there is a personal foul or penalty against it because of concussions and whatnot. I like the clarity of that. That makes sense. Last but not least, to clarify the use of a helmet against. Okay, so number 12 is just the same thing, and I was fixing it up. I got sidetracked and lost it. So these are all great things done on the field. And I don't know necessarily if this is something that we will see a difference of. And like I mentioned to you, this has to be something that the officiating has to take heavily to. So we'll cover the rest of the news. I have it somewhere. I'll put PowerPoints together and display the rest. All right. Coming up next, 10 wrestlers who could be making their debut or returning back to the WWE after WrestleMania. That's still to come. Plus, talking about the 4 matches that we have coming up next. Take you guys up until 8 o'clock tonight on a Wednesday. You guys are listening to The Throw-In on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Going on, everyone? Justin here from the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. I want to give a big shout out and thank you to you, the listeners. That's right. Without you guys, none of this is possible. I would also like to take the time and invite you out to our merchandise page, thanks to T Public. Our merchandise page is where you can find all of our brandings from the Throw-In, which is currently active weekly, to the TNC Sports Talk official brands, to either the prior shows that was part of the TNC Sports Talk Foundation. Now, within all the brandings, you can select T-shirts, both men and female sizes, apparel such as hoodies, kids onesies, kids T-shirts, phone cases, notebooks, coffee mugs. They have a vast majority. This is why I love T Public. And right now, if you spend $80 or more, you get free shipping. And so we want to invite you out to our merchandise page by heading on over to tpublic.com/user/TNC-sport-talk, or even using the QR code up in the right-hand corner. We want to thank you guys again, the listeners, for supporting us, and we hope to see you guys out wearing our merchandise.
Laugh it to the bank like laugh it to the bank like
All right, 7:23 on the program. Welcome back to the Throw-In here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. And it is WrestleMania season. We are 2 days away from the final episode of SmackDown before WrestleMania. We are also 2 days away from the WWE Hall of Fame, which I just saw on Facebook. I believe it was Tim White. The final inductee into this year's class of Hall of Fame. Here we go. Will be a referee, Tim White, which I don't quite know too much about him. All I know, he's going to be inducted to the Hall of Fame, and this is the first time I think I've seen a referee get inducted into the Hall of Fame. So, all right. We'll talk a lot more about that tomorrow. And I think it's going to turn out to be a nice induction class. Well, let me tell you this. It's 3 days away from night one of WrestleMania. And stories that we talk about this. And I heard this on another podcast last night. And I think it's true for all wrestling content providers. When it comes down to WWE, when it comes down to WrestleMania, this is the week. This is the week for you guys to all come out here and get as much contact and much exposure. Now, I do things a little differently. This is just me. This is how I do my business. But, everywhere you're seeing, everywhere you talk about the WrestleMania, this is the week to really cover it. And, as much as I could give you thoughts and opinions about WrestleMania, I think it's also important to have these open conversations about the possible returns, the possible call-ups. And over it's usually a WWE tradition that the night after WrestleMania, and in this case, sometimes even at the SmackDown after WrestleMania, you will see a call-up or you will see a return. And there's a couple favorable returns that is in mind. So I have a top 10 list here of surprise and returns back to the WWE. And we're going to start off with number 10, Matt Cardona. And, I think, some of these top 10 predictions may be a little bit far-fetched. I'd be honest with you. But the whole aspect is that these are ideas. And where Matt Cardona right now is, and, within the independent, squads, this is more unrealistic, but we could see a Matt Cardona. And he's one of the handful of guys who have left WWE, build their names 10 times better, and deserves to come back to the WWE and get a chance to revive that. So Matt Cardona, listen, fans want the new form of Cardona since taking the independent by stream. Chelsea Green's also in the WWE. This would be a nice pose if Cardona could make it back to the WWE at some point this year. All right, coming in at number 9, we talked about it. Braun Breaker, excuse me. Another guy who's favored to get called up, make his WWE debut. And I think it's all going to depend on what happens. I know there's conversations about, I've heard conversations about what to happen at WrestleMania. Could we see Braun Breaker be a WrestleMania breakthrough? I guess my only thing about that is that we may not get the crowd reaction that we want. So we'll. I guess we'll see. Coming in at number 8 is Big E. We haven't heard from him since he broke his neck nearly a year ago, which put him out of WrestleMania. I don't want to rush anything with injuries, especially when it comes down to injuries. So Big E, if he's ready, then let him come back. But you also don't see the New Day as part of WrestleMania this year. And I think that's unfortunate. And therefore, I don't see the need to bring back Big E unless you're taking him away from the New Day. Coming in at number 7 on my list is Mandy Rose. Listen, did the WWE make a mistake by firing Mandy Rose? I understand that there were circumstances and things that they had to follow, and I respect that. It's hard to make a decision off of a really up and coming top star who had the it factor on NXT, and we could potentially see roll over to the main roster once again. But I'm sure, WWE is also capable of negotiating and talking about things and fixing things compared to just walking away from them. And I think they lost a huge talent in Mandy Rose when they fired her. So things are still up in the air. Things I think are also on good terms. So, she talks highly about WWE. So I don't think it's not a out of the range question on why you can't bring back Mandy Rose. Tommaso Ciampa comes in at number 6. He's been out since last August with injuries, and I don't know where he would fit along the line. Maybe something with the IC range, but he is somebody that I think should return. He's on that list at number 6. Coming in at number 5, Naomi. Listen, she dealt with her suspension. She's done surgery on her shoulder. Is she ready to return? I would like to see her return. She adds a flair to the women's division. To be honest, she is a incredible competitor when she is healthy and she's out there. And I think she plays a big factor, and she could be good. She could be a good match card up against a woman like Rhea Ripley or even an Asuka down the near future. Coming in at number 4, this is kind of a bold prediction here, but Sanity, as Nikki's kind of recently made some remarks about seeing Sanity back again. I thought Nikki Cross and Sanity was a great faction. They were not utilized. They were kind of utilized like retribution, and there was a lot of things going on. As we may see a time away from the bloodline, this is another good faction coming up that can play dividends to the tag team division or just even to a roster. Coming in at number 3, this is going to be much related to Big E, and that's going to be Randy Orton. Injuries. I don't know the status of Randy Orton. I know he had to get back surgery. I know that didn't quite go as well as planned, but to see Randy Orton come back, I think it'd be more on a limited basis. And I'm a big, I want to see him. Now, is he, is this the time? Out of all the returns, out of the, comebacks and whatnot, and really, what role does Randy Orton face? I was listening to a podcast last night, and they said one of the biggest concerns coming back from injury is if he could hit that RKO, because that defines Randy Orton and his character. But he could be a guy who comes back I mean, he's been talked about being lingering around, the backstage area, that he's going to be there. Cameron Grimes comes in at number 2 on my list. And Cameron Grimes is one of those guys we haven't seen in a while. And I talked a lot about him yesterday on the top 10 call-ups. He's been absent. He's kind of re-looked into a more physical fatigue. And he's really a guy that I would like to see him come up. He could join Judgment Day. He could do all sorts of things. And, he kind of did it all back when he was before NXT 2.0, kind of been written off camera. And NXT doesn't really have any plans for him. So why not? Cameron Grimes comes in at number 2. And coming in at number 1, you guys, has to be Jay White. Now, I think it only makes sense to come out. And I heard the perfect scenario. And I have to agree with the podcasting that I don't know the name of it, but they do an incredible job. They're really big, well known on social media, Twitch, TikTok. Also, you see the shorts all the time. And they were saying that there's only really one good, kind of one of the good things that you could see out of this in Jay White coming to the WWE. Obviously there's been a lot of talk, but I'm also seeing one good storyline that comes in, and that's John Cena winning night 1 of WrestleMania, and then has an open challenge match on Monday Night Raw, and then Jay White makes his entrance and makes his in-ring debut at the WWE. He's one of the biggest independent names out there available right now. We haven't heard too much about it. He's allegedly a free agent. He was one of the biggest New Japan Pro Wrestling wrestlers of last year. And what type of reaction could we get from the wrestling universe if we could see a guy like Jay White be a WWE superstar? And I think it would have to do a lot from Cody Rhodes coming over. And this would honestly start the one big, trend of people coming over to the WWE. Before break, I want to talk to you about one thing that I heard. I think it just automatically makes sense. And it was just kind of in a quick, short video that I heard about this. And it was like, AEW has matches. You throw 2 and 2 together, you discover a dream match, and you're like, all right, go out there and compete. They got storylines, but their main focus is on throwing out there and having matches and wrestling and occupying a wrestling show to primarily wrestling. WWE focuses itself on the stories, and the fans come to not just see matches, but to also see how stories develop and where it takes shape and format. And, that's why I feel when it comes down to trying to talk about AEW and to talk about WWE, there's a lack. And for a wrestling fan that is used to the WWE growing up, there's always been a element of storytelling that has been that has kind of been a staple to understanding how a wrestling, because if you could tell the match, if you could tell the story in the ring and then have the shows, I think it's a world of win. So that was just something I thought was interesting to throw out there. All right, coming up next, final segment of the day, we sit here and we talk about more WrestleMania matches. I got the 2 undercards to the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. That's the IC title and the US title. And I got both Raw and SmackDown to talk about here coming up next. You guys are listening to The Throw-In here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
Looking back at the good times before it all went down.
Alrighty, welcome back here to the program. I want to give a big shout out to the friends at Epidemic Sound. Discover your world-class artists, composers, and bands. Find the perfect soundtrack and give your social media accounts the music they deserve. Epidemic Sound is a royalty-free music link. For more information, check out epidemicsound.com. Alrighty, let's talk about WrestleMania. More matches still to come. Right after this quick promotional ad.
Like no one cares. Where is your heart? What does it look like? Bruised, damaged, or mistreated. Where is your heart? What does it look like? What do you do with the feelings you feel?
Alrighty, Love's Not Enough, presented by Enlightened Studios. You guys can catch the play at the Community Arts Center next Friday and Saturday. 2 performances only. Friday, we will be down there live talking to guests, audience members, vendors, you name it, 5 to 7. Head on down there. Check us out. Check out the play while you're at it. We'll be there live before the play and live after the play of Love's Not Enough. Thanks to Terry and Enlightened Studios. That play starts at 7 p.m. Get your tickets, $20 for stadium, $25 for matinee. And at one more time at 3 p.m. on Saturday, day before Easter. Check them out. Get your tickets today at the Community Arts Center's website in Fairfield, Ohio. All right, it is WrestleMania season, and yesterday we got a chance to talk about a handful of matches, and today we'll get a chance to talk about some more matches. So let's get to the first match that we want to disclose and talk about. Let me get to it. All right, I guess the first one we're going to go after is going to be Austin Theory and John Cena. That's going to kick off WrestleMania night 1, first match. And I think, listen, I think this is a great way to do it. Austin Theory, let me just talk about this. Austin Theory has been put into quite a predicament coming into WrestleMania. Someone had to give him the opportunity. And likely, a lot of people are comparing Austin Theory to John Cena and his career. And I get that. I really do. Especially over everything that's happened the last 6 months. But Vince McMahon saw something in Austin Theory, took a chance on Austin Theory, and been like, hey, listen, I know he is not ready yet, but we're going to throw him out there and shape him as he goes. And that kind of holds an athlete back. I mean, we've seen it through Dominic, and even though a lot of people are saying he's ready, I still feel like he's not there yet. And we'll talk about that tomorrow. But Austin Theory had to really step up in a time slot, in a time area that, yeah, it's great for a competitor to get the opportunity, but it takes a athlete a while to get in. And for the first good amount, you're treating him as a heel, and he had to get his feet wet. And then Triple H takes over, and then he kind of goes down. He's they're throwing Bobby at him, they're throwing Seth at him, and trying everything they can to keep him relevant. And now John Cena's back, and we see John Cena in Theory. Now, this is the only reason why the match works. And I think Austin Theory is getting bigger and better. And I do feel like he's growing. I guess my question to you guys is it John Cena? Is it Austin Theory or Dominic? Who's getting over more? And so maybe it's time for Theory to drop the title, come on, take a step back or take a few steps back and work on some fine tuning in his character. I like the character. Don't get rid of the character. I say just tune it up a little bit. But here's one of my problems with this character or with this, I guess, match is that John Cena's a part-timer. And if he's going to go in to WrestleMania and beat Austin Theory, then I don't see him making a title run at the United States Championship level. So what? The thought is right now I've heard multiple sources just throwing out the idea that Cena open up open challenge on Raw and Jay White defeats him. I mean, and I think that's a Monday Night Raw, not main event, but main event. Go on and do that. But Monday Night Raw dream match, Jay White versus John Cena. What about that? What about that? But overall, I think this really does elevate Theory's career. It elevates what he's capable of doing in and out of that ring. I expect Theory to help carry John Cena. And I think this really puts Theory in a different situation because he was Vince McMahon's boy a year ago and he got thrown into with Pat McAfee. Now, I think he's held himself pretty well, but then now it's time for him to grow up. And this is the year, this is the WrestleMania match that I think should help him grow up in the aspect. All right, I'm going to get back to the Intercontinental Championship match and save that for the very, very end. And I am going to go with bring you to Asuka and Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship. And, I'm going to be honest with you and be blunt that I think this is going to be a better match than the Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. I just think the intensity of this match and the way that Asuka's come back in this kind of like this kid, almost I'm scared of Asuka, as a fan. I'm scared of going toe to toe. And I think Bianca's a little intimidated by what craziness Asuka brings to the table. So in my opinion, I think this is a better WrestleMania match between the two women's titles that will be defended this weekend. And no matter where this match fits, I think maybe elevates the match and be hard to beat. So I would like to maybe see this match night 2 kicking things off to set the standard of what night 2 has to come down. All right, we're going to move on to Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley, the winner of the 2023 Women's Royal Rumble. And we're talking honesty here and opinions. And Rhea Ripley is someone I think deserves the title spot. As a matter of fact, I think it's been over a year, in this new image of hers that I think she deserves to have this title. And there's a good chance that that's going to happen at WrestleMania. But what I think, I've said this before on the program, and my take on this is it's a little disappointing. I just mentioned here a few minutes ago that Asuka and Bianca Belair, in my opinion, is going to be a better WrestleMania match. And, I've seen these two females fight. And I think one of the reasons why we're going to see this again is because I think the clock is ticking. Because everyone remembers the feud between Rhea and Bianca. And so you keep that feud separate as long as possible so that you're capable of reuniting that at some point down the road. I'd say within the next year or two, to be honest. But when it comes down to the Charlotte and Rhea, you really got to know the NXT history. You still got to know the WrestleMania a few years ago. And I get it. I know it. And I think that these two females can be a main event. Now, last year, we saw Ronda Rousey won the Women's Royal. Charlotte main event one of the nights at WrestleMania. And I think that was the injustice. So do I think that they should main event at WrestleMania? I do, because of that very exact reasons. But I also think that this is not even a WrestleMania main event match, which I think is a little disappointing if you think about it. I think that this is a main event at a premium live elsewhere, maybe even Backlash, but not at WrestleMania. You know what could be a main event? And I got to sneeze. Hopefully I don't sneeze, here. A main event that could be, a match that could be a main event as well, and we argued, is this triple threat match between Gunther, Drew McIntyre, and Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, I was trying to think about the way to describe this match, and it took me to listening to other podcasts to come up with the idea that this is going to be a old classic match, fighting match. Now, this is going to be the definition of professional wrestling at its finest. The way it was back in the 60s, 70s, 40s, maybe, back when they did this, on the road with the circus, in the sense. These are not one, not two, but three men who go on and just going to annihilate each other. And you got one prize. You got the IC title, which is probably, in my opinion, one of today's relevant, most prestigious championships ever. I'm sorry, but even the undisputed WWE Universal Championship does not even touch nowhere to near on how big this title means. And this match is going to relay. You got the Fighting Irish, you got Gunther, and you got Drew McIntyre. And I'm actually excited. And we'll call this now. I think it's going to be, this is also a match that could technically main event, probably should main event. I would hate going on after this match. I would hate the match after this, because it's going to suck so much energy out of the WWE universe that the match after this is not going to be able to top it. I'm a little bit disappointed in the buildup for this match. Now, I'm not blaming Sheamus and I'm not blaming Drew McIntyre. And I was really favoring Gunther up until he started whining and crying and throwing in a hissy fit to Adam Pearce. And then he decides that I guess both of them are not good enough to face him at WrestleMania, and Imperium decides to ambush and attack. And then Gunther goes back on and say, they both didn't win. They both don't deserve to be at WrestleMania facing me. And I think Gunther should have been, I respect Gunther. I respect all three men that's going to be in the ring this weekend fighting for that Intercontinental Championship. But I kind of lost a little bit of mutual respect for Gunther, in the sense of, if I was Gunther, I would have embraced this match to its finest, to its fullest, saying, hey, I'm a competitor. I can take both of them on. They can't decide, they can't decide a victory. Let me go ahead and take on both of them anyways. And because we saw that after the math, and I'm just, right? In my opinion. But this match has the credibility of being main event night one. And so now there's two options that we could go down. And I think it's going to come down to WrestleMania night one to, all right, when are we going to have this match? As a matter of fact, if we don't, we see John Cena, Austin Theory night one. We see, maybe Bianca and Asuka, Austin Theory, John Cena night one. Bianca and Asuka night two to kick off WrestleMania night two. But then you also see maybe this IC title that could do wonders too, because you could set the tone. You could get getting everyone settled in, getting everyone invested. I would definitely throw them into that. All right, we're gonna go ahead and talk about the rest of WrestleMania tomorrow, as well as giving our predictions on Friday. We got to think about 4 or 5 more matches that I'm intrigued to talk about. As a matter of fact, there may be 1 or 2 matches I leave out tomorrow to finish up on Friday. But we're in it. 2 hours of the program on. We made it to the end on a crazy, crazy day. Tomorrow's opening day. Let's get back at it again. I'm excited. I'm thrilled. We will see Hunter Green on the mound. I can't wait to start dissecting and giving you my projective lineup for opening day. I'm excited. I don't know about you guys, but I'm generally excited for opening day. And went out to the Bearcats baseball game last night. Got myself a poster that you see up in the background. My pennants are up. I got my Reds cups in the sink right now because it's dirty. But man, let's get going. WrestleMania matches, more to come tomorrow, and night and opening day here on the program. All right. Want to thank everyone who has tuned in. You guys are watching us on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Be sure to have those notifications on and share it with your friend. We'll be back again tomorrow. If you guys are listening to us on audio platforms, I apologize for the delay. I've not gotten personal time to download and edit these videos for audio platforms, so stay tuned. All right. That is it. That's all I have for you guys today. Justin here wrapping up the throw-in. And we will see you guys again tomorrow. Thank you guys for listening to the throw-in on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Have a great night. Take care. See you guys tomorrow. Go Reds.